Hello and welcome back to another XeroLinux video. This one is a follow-up to a previous video I did yesterday about how to install Virt-Manager on XeroLinux. Method only applies to Xero. This method, however, applies to all Arch-based distros. The only difference being you'll be getting the packages I'll be installing via Pacman on XeroLinux. You will have to install them via AUR. You have to build them from the AUR. I built them already and I host them on my own repositories. And what we'll be talking about today is VMware Workstation. Some people are going to attack me in the comments below, telling me that why are you doing this video about VMware? It's a proprietary software. You shouldn't be encouraging it. Well, the reality of the matter is that some people coming from Windows feel more comfortable on using VMware rather than using Virt-Manager. I highly recommend you switch to Virt-Manager because it's a kernel-based virtual machine versus a complete different way of doing things like VMware. But suffice it to say that I'm doing this for those coming from Windows who feel more comfortable using VMware. So if you don't like VMware, skip this video altogether, and at the end of this video I'll be showing you in the cards the Virt-Manager guide. So click on that and you will be taken there. But keep in mind that the Virt-Manager guide only applies to XeroLinux. It does not apply anywhere else because our package differs completely from others. It includes all the necessary scripts to do everything for you versus the other packages where you have to do everything manually following a guide on the internet. This one is the one that I made yesterday is much simpler than having to do everything manually. With that being said, it's time to get to the guide, right? Of course, this is as usual. I like to do my videos from time to time on XeroG, the GNOME edition, which if you want to know how to get it, it's in the video description below. But on both KDE and GNOME, you'll be welcomed with this tool. To install VMware, you can either do it via my application installer. You scroll all the way down and you select virtualization and then VMware Workstation. As you can see, I have it already installed, but I'll show you anyway how to install it via terminal. You just run the following command: sudo pacman s VMware Workstation VMware unlocker-bin VMware keymaps. Those are the three packages you will need for VMware. Sometimes VMware Workstation will, just that package will be enough, but this will give you options for the future. Like for example, if you want to install macOS into VMware Workstation, unlocker-bin allows you to do that. Once this is done, I have it already installed, as I said, for the sake of this video. I have a guide on the forum, which I will link in the video description as usual. This is the first command that I just showed you. Once it's installed, you reboot, of course, to make sure everything is launched. Now we need to activate networking and other services. The three commands are as follows. You go here, copy, paste, and hit enter. Put in your password, and it's done. You do the same for the next two. 1. Enter. And wait for it to be done. Done. You copy this. You enter it here. Hit enter. Done. This is optional. Once you install guest OS, that means whatever you install inside the guest OS that uses systemd, of course, that excludes Artix and the likes, you type this into terminal and you get your graphics to be able to set your resolution correctly. But in most instances, that's not needed. Anyway, we have done those steps. You can close this and then you go to, on XeroLinux, you go to Arc menu and you search VMware Workstation. You launch it and it's going to ask you for a key. If you don't have one, it's okay. Just select the second option. I want to try VMware for 30 days. Finish. You type your password to start the trial. Thank you for trying, whatever. All right, I prefer to close that part, create new virtual machine, typical, to make it easy. Custom ISO, I already transferred an ISO into documents, no, downloads, XeroG. Next, it's Linux, and unfortunately VMware still does not include ArchLinux in the list of guest OSs. I don't know why, but what I would select is other Linux 5X. Ignore the fact that we are running the Linux version 6. It still works. You click next. You give it a name. This time around it's XeroG. So it's in home, VMs, XeroG. Next. How many gigs you want to give it? How many gigs you want to give it from the hard drive? I give it 32. I prefer to store in a single image. That way I don't have too many small images, but you can select the second one, it works. Hit next, customize hardware. USB controller, you set it always to 3.1 because our USBs are 3.1. Memory, I'm gonna give it around 4 gigs. Processors 2 is fine. This is your ISO, sound card, okay. You hit close, finish. And now we set it to full screen. So we have it in full screen, hit enter. There you go. Now you're installing a guest OS on VMware on Linux. That's all it takes. Just follow the guide, which I will be linking in the video description, of course, and how to get XeroG in case you prefer GNOME over KDE. And that's it. It's not that hard. ISO booted. I guess there's nothing left for me to say, but don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Support me on Patreon. I don't mention it in my videos a lot because I don't like to. But if you have a few pennies to spare and you like the project, what we are doing here in the XeroLinux world, support me on Patreon or donate. If you can't support me on a monthly basis, use my fundraiser, donate a few bucks towards the electric bill every month, and so the project can continue. And with that, this is Dark Zero signing out. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, people. See ya.